Hey guys, today I have another clay ring video for you. Last time you guys saw me make oven bake polymer clay rings, and today we are making cold porcelain air dry clay rings. This was a requested video in the comment section of the last video because a lot of you don't have access to ovens to bake the rings, so we're going to be using an air dry clay, which I will show you how to make. And I hope you like this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed last video, and I'm excited to get started. I'm gonna start off by showing you guys how to make the clay itself, and then we're gonna get into the actual ring making. Now, if you know how to make cold porcelain already, you can skip the beginning and go right to the ring making. But if you don't know how to make cold porcelain, stay tuned and let's get started. To make these air dry clay cold porcelain rings, I'm going to show you guys what you're going to need. So first, obviously, you're going to need the cold porcelain that you made. Now, you can use other forms of air dry clay. It's just I've specifically worked with this kind before, and I know how to work with it, and I know that it would make a good material for a ring, so I do recommend making it. You're also going to need some tools. So this can be a cutting or flattening tool. I have had people tell me it's a flattening one. I use it for cutting and flattening. A rolling pin is necessary, or a marker, whatever you can substitute a rolling pin for. I also like these balling tools and blending tools here. You can see them. It's also good to have a needling tool for blending and adding details. This one I made myself by just taking a pin and putting polymer clay around it and baking it, and there you go. And an X-Acto knife is another staple tool to have when working with clay for cutting. Likewise, you're going to want to have paint brushes for painting your cold porcelain if you choose not to color the clay itself, or for just adding details, and glazing your pieces. Which then leads me to the glaze. I like triple thick glaze. After your creation has hardened and dried, you can put this over to give it a shiny finish. And then for coloring your clay, you can either just make your creations and then paint them afterward, or you can add the acrylic to the clay, which is what I'm going to do on some to show you. And this will color the clay itself once you mix it in. You can color the clay really with anything, like chalk pastels, markers, paints, whatever type of pigment you have, you can pretty much use to color the clay. I also recommend having some cookie cutters or silicone molds just to get more perfect shapes if you have trouble shaping things yourself. And finally, I like to use polymer clay canes. You slice these canes and you can glue them to your pieces. They're little fruit ones. They just add cute little details. Of course, you will be doing your crafting on a workspace. I'm using this little mat from IKEA. Here's what it's called. I'm using the flat side because it has like a rigid side and a flat side. And I'm also using a tabletop, a white tabletop from IKEA that I put on top of my table so that I don't get it dirty or the wood messed up. Let's begin. You're going to start by sectioning off a piece of your ball of clay and immediately put your clay back into the bag so that the air doesn't get to it and dry it out. I chose 4 acrylic colors to color my rings. Remember, you can use any type of pigment to color your rings. Mix the acrylic in until it's spread out evenly throughout the clay. After all your clay is colored, put it back into an airtight bag. Then begin working on your first ring. I make a small snake and then I roll it out with the rolling pin to flatten it to the thickness desired for my ring. Then I use the flattening or cutting tool to cut straight lines to make my rings. Then I fit each ring to my finger. Remember, the clay is going to shrink, so make it a little bigger than you actually want it. Now it's time to cut off any excess parts of the closure on the ring because you don't want it to be all bulky when the rest of the ring is thin. You can cut on a diagonal on each side and close it, which makes it close pretty seamlessly and blend really well. Then you can blend out any uneven edges or harsh lines on the closure of the ring using your blending tool and also using lotion on your finger to blend it. Whenever you use lotion on this clay, it really smooths things out and smooths out surfaces. It smooths out cracks if your clay is drying a little bit. So lotion is really key when using cold porcelain. Here you can see I'm smoothing out the closure of the ring. Now it's time to decorate. So to make these cute little flower details, you are going to use your balling tool. I used the smaller side of the balling tool to make the center of the flower and the bigger end to make the petals. Next ring, I used my heart cookie cutter to cut out a little heart shape, and then I smoothed out the edges left by the cookie cutter. Then I made this green ring. I repeated the same steps as when making the first rings, except I made these ones a little thinner. Again, I'm smoothing out, this time using the blending tool. And there you go. Now I'm making a blue ring, and this ring's gonna be a little different because I'm making a snake and making a more rounded shaped ring. So instead of flattening it, I make it a snake. But I do the same steps when it comes to blending out the closures and all of that. Again, using lotion, which really helps smooth things out. If you want a more flat and wide look, just make the same ring but press the edges together with your 2 fingers. I made my yellow ring the same shape as my blue ring and smoothed the surface out with some lotion. Then I cut some cane slices to decorate my yellow ring with. I thought the banana added a nice touch. And then created a really cool braided ring by rolling out 3 thinner snakes, attaching them together at the top and braiding them through. I really like how this ring turned out because it's different than the rest and has a really cool pattern. Alright guys, so I finished the rings. They need 24 hours to dry before I can paint and glaze them. I'm sorry my camera cut off when I was braiding the yellow ring, but you basically just use the same method of blending to close that ring off. And then I used some scrap clay to make the 2 tannish rings, which I'm going to paint and add a design on. Remember, cold porcelain shrinks 15 to 20% once it dries, so again, keep that in mind when creating your rings. We'll check in tomorrow where we will paint and finish them off. So it's the next day and the rings are nice and hard and dry, and they definitely have shrunk a bit. Now we are going to paint them. A good tip for before you start painting your rings is that if they have any cracking in them because of the drying process, then you can file down the cracks with a nail file. This just smooths it out so it's easier to paint. When it comes to painting the rings, you really have so much creative freedom. This is where you get to have fun, do whatever you want, come up with your own designs, get inspiration, do whatever you please. And then once everything is painted and decorated, you have to glaze your rings. I'm using triple thick again, but you can really use whatever glaze you want. And to attach different pieces you made to your rings, you can also use that glaze or any type of glue. As you can see here, I'm attaching my heart to my ring with the triple thick glaze. And I'm also attaching my cane slices to the ring using the triple thick as well. After these dried, I glazed them too. After decorating, let the glaze dry over your rings for 24 hours. Heck yeah, now you're all done and you get to wear them and show them off. I know your guys' rings must have came out so amazing. Hope this tutorial helped. Alright guys, that's it for the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, and I hope you guys get to making some amazing clay rings yourself. Comment down below any questions you have and I will definitely get back to you as soon as possible. And stay tuned for more videos. Feel free to subscribe if you want. If not, it's totally cool. And thank you guys for watching. Have a great week. See you next time. Just a side note, here are some other little clay creations I've made before in the past. If you guys want to see any tutorials or have any video ideas, please leave suggestions down below. Thanks again, guys. Bye.